Is it possible that these ancient geoglyphs were created not for a terrestrial purpose, but for an extraterrestrial one?
The Grand Canyon is one of nature's great archives that has astonished generations for ages. With each new discovery, we are reminded that no matter how much the carvens are explored, we can never fully uncover all the secrets hidden in its depths. From ancient remnants of long-lost eras to strange cursed objects, join us as we delve into the depths of these caverns, uncovering terrifying phenomena that have left scientists stunned. Number 10. The Mogollon Monster within the towering pine forests of Arizona's Mogollon Rim rests a legend of a mysterious creature said to stand over 7 feet tall, stalking these ancient woods. They call it the Mogollon Monster, a name that, when uttered, ignites fear. With its massive frame covered in thick matted fur ranging from black to reddish-brown, and eyes that glow eerily in the night, and an odor that could pass as a natural anesthesia, the monster has struck fear into those unfortunate enough to encounter it. Reports of sightings first began to circulate in the early 1900s when pioneer families settling the region spoke of a fierce, unknown beast lurking in the pine forests. To lend credence to their tale, hikers and campers have reportedly seen the creature darting between trees, piercing the night air with its bone-chilling screams. Many describe an overwhelming sense of being watched, and even unseen eyes tracking their every move. How scary can this get? One chilling tale describes a group of campers startled awake by a horrifying shriek that seemed to shake the earth itself. As they strained their eyes to peer into the darkness, they were frozen in fear by the sight of 2 fiery eyes steadily approaching, and in a few seconds, they were standing face to face with a monstrous figure that was larger than any animal they have ever known, with unmistakably sinister intentions. Before the campers could react, it snatched one of their members and disappeared into the night, leaving only blood and terrified screams in its wake. In another scenario, a lone hiker narrated how he narrowly escaped this malevolent entity. According to him, on one of his hikes, he stumbled upon a remote meadow, and upon looking closer, he saw the monster with jagged teeth capable of crushing bone, feasting on a fresh kill. As soon as the monster noticed his presence, he turned toward him with a deadly growl, and with the speed of lightning, gave him a hot chase that he saw his life flash before his eyes, but for a stroke of luck. But what exactly could this monster be? Number 9. The Grand Canyon's enduring mystery. The Grand Canyon isn't just a gorgeous place to take epic photos. This natural wonder is also like a history book made of rock, with layer after layer recording the Earth's past. But if you flip through the canyon's geological pages, you'll notice one chapter is totally missing. This gap in the rock record is called the Great Unconformity, and it's one of the biggest mysteries in geology. Older rock layers were formed deeper in Earth way back in time, while younger ones piled up on top more recently. Normally, these rock layers stack up neatly with the oldest on the bottom and the newest layers on top. But as you walk down the canyon while scanning the walls and get to a certain point, something crazy happens. As if you're transported to another realm, you suddenly come across a boundary unlike anything else. Between the ancient twisted upper rocks and much flatter sedimentary lower rocks is a huge gap where tons of rock layers are surprisingly missing, as if a huge chunk of entire chapters got ripped out of the canyon's geological history. Something terrific must have caused such a dramatic loss, that much geologic history. Though no one was around back then to see exactly how it happened, scientists have come up with a few theories to explain this strange missing gap in the canyon's rock record. One idea is that the region was lifted up and exposed to erosion for an incredibly long time. We're talking hundreds of millions of years of wind, rain, and breakdown from the elements wearing away at the surface. This mega erosion could have stripped off massive amounts of rock. Another theory says huge shifts of the Earth's tectonic plates caused dramatic changes in sea level and land patterns. This may have focused erosion in certain areas, removing rock layers before new seabeds formed to start the next chapter. The fun part is that none of these theories fully solves the mystery. And it's just mind-blowing how staring at this stark boundary makes us realize how little we still understand about our planet's distant past. It's still a mystery exactly how so much geological history could vanish. Was it slow erosion over eons, sudden events like land colliding and mountains rising up, or a combo of factors? Next time you marvel at the canyon's beauty, take a moment to ponder the unsolved mysteries still etched in its stones. Number 8. Mysterious disappearances. With its sheer cliffs, deep canyons, and dizzying heights, the Grand Canyon seems like the perfect place for mysterious disappearances that have stumped searchers for decades. One of the most enduring mysteries involves newlyweds Glenn and Bessie Hyde. In 1928, this adventurous couple set out to travel the length of the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon by boat, aiming to set a speed record. But they never made it out to the other side. A few weeks into their journey, the Hydes vanished without a trace, leaving their boat drifting undamaged with all their supplies still on board. Search parties scoured the canyon for months but found nothing. Their bodies have never been recovered. What happened to the adventurous couple? Some theorized the couple drowned or were murdered by a stranger. Others wondered if they faked their own deaths to start a new life. To this day, no one knows what truly happened to the Hydes, making it one of the canyon's most enduring mysteries. Another perplexing case is that of Margot Bradley, an experienced Grand Canyon hiker who went missing while on a solo hike in 1996. As expected, search teams combed the area for weeks but turned up totally empty. But after a decade, her remains were finally discovered in a remote section of the park by some hikers. But here's where it gets stranger. That area had already been searched way back when she first disappeared. So how did searchers miss an entire body just lying there? Super weird and creepy, if you ask. Were these poor souls victims of accidents and natural causes? Or is something more mysterious and sinister at play in the shadows of the canyon? Number 7. Tusayan Pueblo Ruins. Still on the mysterious findings within the Grand Canyon is the captivating Tusayan Pueblo Ruins. These ancient remnants, over 800 years old, hold the secrets of a long-lost civilization and a tangible link to the ancestral Puebloan culture that once flourished in this harsh yet beautiful landscape. Built with sandstone blocks and mud mortar, the Pueblo features living quarters, storage rooms, and a ceremonial chamber that was central to spiritual practices called a kiva. As you explore the ruins, you'll find yourself transported to a time when the ancestral Puebloans thrived in this rugged landscape. The Pueblo's layout, with rooms surrounding an open plaza, reveals a community that values gathering and ceremony. Though excavations have uncovered evidence of their agricultural lifestyle, there's a thick air of mystery surrounding these people. Even after years of discovery, there are still unanswered questions. First, what led to their departure in the 13th century? Why did they choose this canyon rim location in the first place? While some say they migrated due to environmental changes, oral traditions speak of spirits swooping down to whisk the inhabitants away. Adding another layer of mystery, there is said to be a network of tunnels that serves as portals to the spiritual realm. But the most eerie are the reports of some explorers who have reportedly heard strange voices and even seen ghostly apparitions in the ruins at certain times of year. According to beliefs, these spirits are the ancestors returning to their former homes, sending messages to their living descendants or sensitive visitors. Maybe you should pay this ancient portal a visit. What do you think? Number 6. Ancient fossilized footprints. Prepare to be amazed by another extraordinary find within the magnificent Grand Canyon National Park. We're talking about fossilized footprints that have defied the test of time, revealing captivating secrets from the ancient past. These footprints are a window into a world that existed over 310 million years ago, during the Carboniferous period when our planet was a dramatically different place. What makes these fossilized footprints truly remarkable is their diversity. Amongst these ancient impressions, we find evidence of various early tetrapods, which are four-limbed vertebrates. Yes, we're talking about early amphibians and reptiles making their mark on the muddy ground. And here's the exciting part. Some of these footprints suggest that these creatures moved in very strange, unfamiliar ways. We're talking sideways movement, indicating a unique adaptation or behavior that has yet to be fully understood by the scientific community. The largest prints measure a jaw-dropping 18 inches in length and 13 inches in width, meaning that these creatures were as tall as modern humans with astonishingly distinct features like 5 toes, a foot structure too advanced for its time. What even shocked the paleontologists the more was that multiple trails of the prints were found indicating the movement of several creatures, possibly even herds. Now, research showed these creatures were not dinosaurs or any known type of reptiles, so the enduring question is, what are they? Who knows what new revelations the future holds? Number 5. The Presidential Suite. Every adventure lover should include this next spot in their bucket list. Imagine spending the night 220 feet underground inside a cavern carved into the limestone cliffs of the Grand Canyon. Well, you totally can, thanks to a weird secret bunker created back in the 1960s as a hiding spot during the Cold War. This weird cave motel suite was originally a top-secret bunker built by President John F. Kennedy during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1961. With the threat of nuclear war looming, President Kennedy wanted a place to keep over 2,000 important people safe if missiles started flying. And where better to build an emergency shelter than a dry, isolated cave very deep under the ground? The president figured the cavern would protect people from radioactive fallout, so civilization could try to rebuild if the worst happened. So he stocked up supplies like food, water, beds, generators to support over 2,000 people for weeks if needed. Thankfully, the crisis ended peacefully, so the cave shelter never had to be used. But it still sits there today in perfect shape. Nowadays, the cavern makes for one totally tubular room to rent for the night. Furnished with cozy beds, a TV, a library, and even running water, it's like a regular motel room, but, subterranean. If you're a history nerd, the coolest part would be all the vintage 1960s supplies still stored there by the beds, all well preserved, giving you a feel of the Cold War era. By day, you can take cool, guided tours to learn all about the cavern's formation and get the scoop on the bomb shelter's backstory. But once that last tour group leaves around 5 p.m., the space is all yours until 9 a.m. for an epic overnight adventure 220 feet within the rocks. Though the rent costs about $900, $1,000 a night, on a second thought, can you really put a price on such a uniquely historical experience? Besides, how often can you say you spent the night in a secret cavern meant to save the president and VIPs during a nuclear war? Number 4. The Havasupai people. Imagine living deep down inside the Grand Canyon for over 800 years. That's just what the Havasupai people have been doing for centuries. Having made their home along the beautiful blue-green Havasu Creek, winding through Havasu Canyon, with towering cliffs on either side and awesome waterfalls cascading down, it makes sense why they are called the people of the blue-green waters. The Havasupai are experts at canyon living. For centuries, they've found ways to thrive in this harsh environment. Down in the canyon, the Havasupai people built homes right into the towering cliffs for protection and to stay cool in the heat. From their cliffside dwellings made from wood, mud, and other natural materials, they could look down on their irrigated fields and terraces where they grew corn, beans, squash, and fruits. It is even said that long ago, they used to migrate between the rim and canyon by season, farming below in winter, hunting above in summer, but now they stay put in their village of Supai. To show how isolated it is, even today, the village has no road access. The only ways to get there are hiking 8 miles, riding a mule, or taking a helicopter. What more? Well, this isolation did them good as it has helped them to keep their culture and traditions going strong. They still speak their native language and pass down their songs, dances, and stories from generation to generation. Their beliefs are just as unique as they see the Grand Canyon cliffs, rock formations, waterfalls, and springs as sacred places linked to their gods and legends, which, if you ask, is quite normal considering that they have lived there almost all their lives. Though modern times have introduced some challenges to their homeland, they have remained resilient, carrying on their efforts to protect these sacred lands and waters. What an incredible story of human perseverance. Number 3. The drying Colorado River. The Colorado River is in trouble. This mighty waterway that carved out the Grand Canyon doesn't flow as strongly as it used to. In fact, over the last 20 years, the amount of water reaching parts of Colorado has shrunk big time, with some flowing so low they barely even make it to the Gulf of California anymore. While drought and climate change are partly to blame, another big reason is all the demand put on the river. Colorado provides water for over 40 million people across 7 states and Mexico. All that agriculture, industry, and growing cities take a toll. There's only so much river to go around. This drying trend doesn't just change the view. It also threatens everything living in and around the Colorado River. First up are all the farmers and all the big cities like Phoenix and Las Vegas that need the river's water. With less to go around, expect some fights over who gets the shrinking supply. Water prices will probably go way up too, which is not great news for 40 million folks relying on Colorado. Next are all the plants and animals that live in or near the river within the Grand Canyon. The entire ecosystem here depends on specific water flows and levels. As the river shrinks, habitats can be destroyed and species put in danger, from native fish to birds to plants. Any disruptions can also affect natural processes like sand and sediment flowing downstream, and before you know it, a chain reaction of damage has been created. Speaking of downstream, hydroelectric power will take a hit too. Those giant dams like Hoover and Glen Canyon dams need plenty of river flow to produce hydroelectric power that millions of people across several states count on. Less water means less electricity from these renewable sources, meaning we have to burn more fossil fuels to meet demand, which is not exactly helping the climate change situation. And we can't forget the impact on all those who love to fish, boat, and raft on the Colorado River, winding through the Grand Canyon. From whitewater rafting to leisurely sunset paddles, these activities deliver huge benefits for the local tourism economy, and nobody wants to pay for an epic rafting trip down a sad little trickle of a river. Seeing the canyon bottom exposed with valuable artifacts and cultural sites that used to be covered by the river is a weird and sad sight. And while cool historically, it's also a grim reminder of how much this landscape is changing. Scientists expect the Southwest's long-term drought and heat waves to continue as the climate shifts. So action is needed to reduce water demand and better manage Colorado before things get worse. Conserving water use, improving irrigation practices, recycling more wastewater, and shifting from thirsty crops can help ease the strain. Colorado may never return to its full glory, but with care, we can ensure this precious water keeps sustaining life in the arid Southwest as the future of millions of people and precious ecosystems depends on it. Number 2, cursed objects. Within the vast depths of the Grand Canyon lie ancient objects shrouded in mystery and legend. According to local lore, some items found in the canyon are cursed, bringing bad mojo to anyone who dares take them as souvenirs. The park rangers say they often get packages from tourists returning items like pottery, jewelry, or relics taken from Native American burial sites within the canyon. Many anxiety-filled letters explain the thieves immediately experienced health problems, job loss, or accidents after taking these objects. One famous story is about a Navajo blanket given to a trader named Don McGuire back in 1879. The woman who gave it to him, Emma Lee, warned that the blanket had brought tragedy to her husband before he died. She believed it was cursed. But McGuire ignored her warning, and soon reality struck. After taking the blanket, McGuire suffered a string of disasters. His money dried up, his livestock died, and his health declined. Finally, he lost the blanket, and the curse was lifted. Of course, skeptic minds dismiss such stories as superstition, but within the Grand Canyon's epic scale and mystery, curses somehow don't seem so far-fetched. This landscape holds ancient secrets that are beyond human comprehension, and so, in the presence of such mysterious power, it's best not to joke with forces beyond our grasp. Number 1. Uranium deposits. Who would have believed that the most famous natural area in the world that has become a dream destination for travelers from all over the world is an archive of complex geological secrets that has created a big controversy in recent times? We're talking of large deposits of uranium, which have thrown such unrest to the once quiet landscape. Let me break down the science and debate surrounding the canyon's uranium in plain speak. How does so much uranium get concentrated here in the first place? Well, the geological history of the Colorado Plateau, where the canyon is located, created the perfect conditions over millions of years. Essentially, you get these vertical pipe formations in the rock that formed when limestone dissolved away and collapsed under pressure. Later, uranium-rich fluids flowed through these breccia pipes and deposited mineral uranium. So Mother Nature did some crazy stuff over time and ended up hiding heaps of radioactive ore in the rocks. Now, the implications of all this uranium around the Grand Canyon are complicated. Mining companies see dollar signs from extracting and selling the uranium. But environmental groups see huge risks from contamination, which could hurt both nature and human health. Let's start with the environmental and health issues. You see, when you dig up uranium ore, there's a chance you can release radioactive particles and expose both miners and nearby communities to dangerous radiation, which can cause cancer and other illnesses. And because the Grand Canyon ecosystem is so delicate that any changes could have huge impacts, anything seeping into the Colorado River doesn't just stay local. That water flows to farms and cities all across the Southwest, which is really bad news. The cultural and social sides are important too. Native tribes like the Havasupai, who call this area their ancestral home, fiercely oppose mining that does damage to their sacred lands and waters. Their voices absolutely need to be part of decisions that affect their homelands. Of course, the mining companies argue that uranium operations also bring economic benefits like jobs and tax money for the region. And we do need uranium for nuclear power plants and national defense programs. But we have to weigh the potential short-term gains against long-term cleanup costs and harm. At the end of the day, there are no easy answers here, but a balance has to be struck. Uranium deposits present opportunities, but also real risks. Rushing into mining may yield short-term profits, but could come at a steep long-term cost. What we can all agree on is that the Grand Canyon's long-term health should not be compromised for temporary economic gains. And so, we need smart policies that thoughtfully balance environmental protection, health risks, cultural impacts, and economic benefits. With careful planning and open conversations between all sides, compromises can surely be found. Because this natural wonder belongs to all of us, and future generations deserve to see its glory intact.